And I remember just standing in that room and like standing up and looking around and just being like, I'm home. Like it was emotional because it's like I do all kinds of craft fairs and art fairs and stuff here, but I'm always feel like I'm the freak. And fucking there, I just felt like I am among my people.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
And I'm
You were
curious,
trying
how
to
would you
cross.
compare the experience of making art, whether it be in free time at work, at home or in a studio space? Do you have a preference between them?
I mean, it's so hard, like so I loved the Von Common, but you are also are at the whims of everyone. Like there's just people and it was this old warehouse space that was very dingy and but what I really loved about it and what I think I would love about any studio space that's outside of the house is that you could train your brain to be in the flow state the moment you got there. So that's the thing. That's because like there's the whole flow state of being able to make art and like you click, like you're just suddenly like ready to make it and you're ready to go and you're doing it, right? And if you like a lot of artists spend hours just trying to get into flow, right? Like that's a huge thing. I read like a whole book about it. And if you have a studio space that's what you do is you go there and you don't do anything else, your brain starts to get to that point where you don't have to work to get in the flow state. You're just like, it's like you go in and you're just like clocking in and you're like, now you're an artist. And that is absolutely the best part about having a studio. The part that sucks is trying to figure out when you're going to fit it in your schedule, to go there for a couple hours. Whereas if you have a home studio, you can just pop in for 15 minutes or you can just like, and be like, oh yeah, I got 20 minutes before I have to do this. Like, I'm just gonna like do a little bit. And you don't have that if you have a studio. It's like, it's just that. And so it's good for the same reason it's bad. Does that make sense? Like it's good because you're like, okay, I have to schedule time to go do this. But it's also bad because you have to schedule time to go do it. Like, so that's what I think I miss the most though, is like being able to like be like, okay, I'm gonna set 2 hours aside, I'm gonna go there and like I'll immediately get to flow state and make art for 2 hours straight. It's gonna be great. But I honestly I had to stop being there because I had like multiple things going on. I was having like allergies to some of the chemicals that people were using. I think I was also having really bad dust allergies. So I was having allergic reactions every time I went in there. And then I was also having like stress on top of it because it was a collective. So I was the treasurer and I had all these responsibilities and it was just too much. And at some point I just was like, I have to go. But I do kind of, I miss the like, just like making art. So I don't know. It's good and it's bad.
How would you describe like your flow state? Is it just where you're like you have no thoughts in your mind except for what you're doing in the art? Is that what that kind of quiet is?
Yeah, if I'm like achieve a flow state, like I kind of lose myself completely in the art process. So it's just me and the art and like I'll lose track of time, I'll lose track of what I'm doing, I'll do stupid shit like fucking knock an entire can of house paint over inside my studio and then track it all over my house because I'm in such a flow state that I won't even notice, and like and until I do and then I freak out and then there goes the flow state. But yeah, no, I just like get right into it. And I'm always working on like 8 pieces at a time, if not more. And so I will, if I like hit a spot with a piece where I'm like, I'm not like, I don't know what to do next, I just toss it to the side and go to the next one. And so I can just like be in this vibe where I'm like I just know what to do next. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like this magic thing. Cause like a lot of times when you're doing art, you're like, I don't know what to do here. like, oh, where should I go next? Like, and being in this flow state, you just know what to do next. You just know what needs to come out, and oh, I'm just gonna grab this, and then I'm gonna do this, and and it feels so fucking good, like it feels good in like this weird ass magic way. Where a lot of times when you're making art, it doesn't feel that good because you're just like too much in your head or whatever, and you're like thinking and you're like, oh, what would look good here? And instead of just being like, I just trust myself and you're just going. And I feel like half of that is not half, but maybe a good chunk of that is knowing exactly your medium, not learning anything. Like, so you can go whichever direction you want to go. Right. And like knowing all your tools and knowing everything that you don't have to stop and think about it. You just to like, okay, now I need this. Okay, now I need that. And it's really nice. I feel like it's probably only achieved like, I don't know, maybe a third of the time. And like a lot of times you do have to warm up into it. You got to spend upwards to an hour kind of flailing until you'll get into that state. Or sometimes you just don't even get there. You're just kind of thinking around. And then you hope, and then it's like, well, time's up. Gotta go get the kid or gotta go do this or whatever. And so then it's over. But yeah, when you can get in that flow state, it's radical.
2 questions. One, how would you describe the importance or lack thereof, possibly, of typewriters in your work? And also, do you have a favorite brand of typewriter?
I love this question. I'm obsessed with typewriters, but I guess I'm not obsessed because I have no fucking clue what brand mine are. So I'm not obsessed like that. So if I'm ever stuck writing, like if I can't, so I have to write for my zine every month, and I just kind of write about my life. It's very like personal essay-esque. And if I'm stuck, like if I'm just having writer's block, that's when the typewriter comes out. And it's like there was like Jack Kerouac wrote the like rules for writing or something, and one of them was typewritten pages for your own joy, I think was what it was. And I always like embodied that. Like, I feel like typing on a typewriter is like this like weird magic experience because it's like you're like an out of control car or something because they're like big and clunky, and you're like, and it's all like, whoa, and moving around and it's just delightful. And I use them a lot in my zine, and I don't know, it like just feels good. Especially feels good if I'm like trying to write up some, like I feel like if I'm trying to write something of substance that needs to be edited, right? I'm gonna spend a lot of time on my computer, a lot of right? And sometimes that just doesn't work. And when you type on a typewriter, there's no editing, like you're just like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And so sometimes we just like stream of consciousness type on a typewriter. And I don't know, I feel like it ends up being way more authentic. But I have 2 typewriters that I dearly love. One is electronic, and it's kind of like a newer-ish one. And then I have like one that's not electronic. I love them both kind of equally. They both have like different fonts. I would say that it's much easier to use the electric one because the other one you have to kind of just be like ka-chunk, ka-chunk. You can't even type like with your normal typing fingers because like your pinky just does not have the that it needs to like push the letter down. So it's like a full force like activity, So the electric is like definitely easier if I really like just want to like flow right, or you're just letting yourself go.
Do you recall the first thing you graffitied?
Ooh. Oh, I like that. I love that you just like know that I've graffitied before. Did you just assume that? I don't usually tell people about that. I don't remember specifically. I mean, I was always liking to just like draw on shit when I was a teenager and stuff. And then when I was in my 20s, I was following this really amazing people who photographed and posted pictures of amazing graffiti, and I don't remember what it was. It was like when I was still on LiveJournal, and there was like you could just follow them on LiveJournal, and wheat pasting, had become kind of like this huge thing. And at one point, I with one of my friends, we made a whole bunch of really cool pieces on newsprint, and then went and pasted them all over Portland. And that was probably like my favorite graffiti times. It was definitely not my first, but it was my favorite. Yeah, I used to have a friend that had cattle markers too, and he would use like those to graffiti. And that was like so much fun because they're for writing stuff on cattle and they don't wash off. But they're also sort of like a weird oil pastel almost. And yeah, what a blast.
Your work in particular, when it's so, I guess, improvisational is the word that comes to mind, and I've seen you like write poetry or something on it and then like paint over it later. How do you decide when a piece is done?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard. You kind of get a vibe. Like I actually just, I don't know, this winter made several pieces that were very minimal. I really loved. I just stopped because I was like, this is just so perfect. I can't do anything more. But then I've been trying to get them into shows because I love them like I do, even though I was like, I do feel like these are too sparse. And they just haven't been getting the shows. So it's like I made that decision, but now I'm like kind of like questioning myself and thinking maybe I should pull them back in and do more on them. But honestly, like I just don't know if I can because they're just perfect how they are. And then they're very sparse, like on wood. So like you can see a ton of wood, like, and I don't know, it's hard because it's like sometimes I vibe with it being done, but maybe the rest of the world doesn't. And then sometimes I overwork shit too, like where I almost pretty much just have to start over. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, I'll overwork it so hard that I'll be like, I'm just gonna have to paint it over. Like it's just too much now. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to want something's done. So I just kind of trying to go with my gut.
You've used a lot of different distribution methods for your art, blah, 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 the zine, going to zine fests and different things and going in galleries, online sales, digital sales, whatever it may be. If you had to, just pick one of them, whether it be, just doing Patreon or just doing the galleries or just doing the art fest, is there one that you prefer most?
That's hard because honestly, like, I think I would only pick zine fests at that point. That's like my favorite thing. Like, I really want to try to go to the Portland Zine Symposium this year. I used to go every year until I had a kid, and I haven't been since I had him. He's 13 now, so I feel like I gotta get back there. And I don't know, that's always been my favorite thing. Like, I hadn't been to one since I met you, the first time I met you at the Spokane one. And I remember just standing in that room and like standing up and looking around and just being like, I'm home, like it was emotional because it's like I do all kinds of craft fairs and art fairs and stuff here, but I'm always feel like I'm the freak, and fucking there, I just felt like I am among my people, like these are my people. Like people that make zines are usually weird as fuck and they're all kinds of weird, you know what I mean? And those are my people, and I love it so much. Granted, it wouldn't get me very far, I feel like, because it's like the things I make the least amount of money at. And yeah, and if I was gonna like pick between zines and art, I don't think I could. You just have to tear me apart because like they're both like so huge in my life. And I don't think I could do life without either or both of them.
Perhaps it's too tough of a question. Do you find yourself having a favorite era of cinema at all?
Oh, yeah. I definitely like, I don't know, I was a kid in the 80s. And so the 80s and the 90s were when, I did most of my movie watching. And, yeah, like I was talking earlier, like obsessed with like Dirty Dancing and Pretty Woman, which I think those ones were maybe early 90s or late 80s. I'm not really on that, but But yeah, I love to and like all the Molly Ringwald movies of the 80s and all of that, that stuff. I never was into any kind of like horror movies or anything. I was always kind of more of the like sweet stuff. And then oddly though, I was really into Silence of the Lambs. Like that one I watched over and over and over again as a kid. I don't know why. It was the only kind of spooky one that I was really into. The thing about it, as soon as I graduated I graduated from high school in 1998, and I didn't have a TV until I was in my late 20s. So, I basically just lived off of nothing. Like, I didn't have any money, and I think there was a moment somewhere in there where I had like 6 months where I had a TV and a VCR, but I couldn't afford to rent any movies. So it was sort of pointless. It was like only if you had a movie could you then watch it, Yeah, so I don't know, like I just missed like a whole section where I didn't go to movies in the theaters, I didn't rent anything. And so that was all like the 2000s basically. Like didn't see any pop, like people would just be like, oh, that was like pop culture in the, like 2001. And I'd be like, I legit didn't have a TV. The internet, it was before the internet was like, you must, know everything, And I was just rolling around with a bunch of fucking freaks who, like, we just made our own art and, like, we just did our own thing and, like, we just spent all our time hanging out and talking to people. And actually, that was probably one of the best times of my life. I had no connection to pop culture, no connection to the outside world. Like, it was before the internet was, like, taking over. And we just, like, had our own little world and scene. And it was before I was, like, trying to show art to people. But I was literally hanging out with people who made art all the time. Like, we would always be working on drawing or a collage, or people would have fucking cameras in your faces and, like, recorders in your faces all the time. Like, I was always being documented. I wish I knew what happened to all those pictures and videos. And like, it was crazy. Like, all my friends were these crazy artists who did crazy stuff all the time, and it was just art all the time. And it was great.
If you had been in the room, is there a song that you would have insisted needed to go on the golden record?
What a fucking hard choice. Yeah, it's different. I love so many different kinds of genres of music. I have like a real soft spot for like early country music, like 1950s, 1960s country music. But I love it as like a genre, and like to just like pick one song out of the whole pot and be like, this is the one, Especially like if you're like encapsulating like the human condition or whatever, like to pick just like, even if just 20 songs, would be ridiculously hard. I don't think that I could pick in that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think if I was in that room, I would be the person that's like, let's represent as many people as possible. You know what I mean? Like, instead of me being like, this is my favorite song or whatever, which I don't even really have a favorite song. Like, I have, like, at one point I had, this was kind of before streaming and whatnot, and I had like all of my like MP3s or whatever on my computer. I don't know, I had like thousands of songs or whatever. And I made a file folder that was like the best songs ever, and I only ever put one song into that file. And so in my mind, I'm like, maybe that is like my favorite song. But otherwise, like, like I've never just been like, this is it, like there are albums that are my favorite albums, but to like just pick one song, like I don't know how people, I don't stream music because I think that it's evil, like especially like Spotify and whatnot. Like I think that it's just destroyed the music industry. Like the music industry doesn't exist anymore. It's like completely gutted and like totally fucked. Like, and I just don't want to be part of it. So I only listen to like music that's actually real or the radio. And so, which is probably another reason why I don't listen to music very much, because I have to go dig through CDs or dig through all the records. Yeah, coming back to that. Anyway,
I think we got
uh,
to the heart of your truth on that question. But just out of curiosity, do you remember the one song that was added to the playlist?
oh yeah, it's called Ginger, and it's by the Oblio Joes. It's like a local Missoula band.
What kind of arts do you think the world needs more of right now?
I think that honestly, I think it needs more like of people doing art. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't need a product from me. It needs, like, people like, when I was in my 20s, I told you we were just hang out and make art all the time. Like, that sort of togetherness in art, Like, people need to, like, have art parties and, like, hang out and, like, make a drawing together. Like, that was one of the things we did when my 20s all the time. There was a thing we called The Game, and we would literally just start a drawing and then pass it around, and other people would add to it, and it would happen all night long, and pretty soon the drawing would get back to you, and it was just this crazy weird drawing, and, like, I feel like that's what the world needs right now. They need these things that connect them to each other, not through a screen, you know what I mean? Like, through something physical where they're, like, actively doing it together, like, means something, I don't know, like, that's what I think the world needs more of. I needs more of, like maybe it's just something I need more of. I haven't made art with my friends in a really long time, but I feel like it's one of the I don't know if you've ever really experienced that where you just, like, hang out with a bunch of friends and make art together, but it's, like, a really nice thing.
Here he is again. That's astonishing.